So the American Academy of Pediatrics has, well, a couple problems. They have a couple problems. First of all, if you just go to their webpage, it's aap.org. I'm clicking it open right now. You scroll down the page about halfway, and you will find a portion on their page about equity, diversity, and inclusion. And this is what they say. From the beginning, the American Academy of Pediatrics has been guided by its mission to ensure the health and well-being of all children. This includes promoting nurturing, inclusive environments and actively opposing intolerance, bigotry, bias, and discrimination. And then the button you can click says Our Equity Agenda. Now, the problem with this is not the fact that they want to include all children. Obviously, that is a good motive. However, we all know that equity, diversity, and inclusion is just the euphemistic name for the principles of critical race theory, the principles of racialized Marxism here, where critical race theory, of course, teaches that white children are racist based inherently on the color of their skin, and that black children are oppressed based inherently on the color of their skin. It's an evil racist ideology. And equity, diversity, and inclusion is the euphemistic way that companies, woke corporations, or organizations like the AAP announce that they virtue signal that they are a part of this. Equity, as we know, equity is not equality. Equity is not equal access. Equity is discrimination. In order to achieve an equal outcome, you have to discriminate against certain people to hold them back to ensure that everyone ends up at the same place, versus equality, which ensures that everyone has an equal starting point, or an equal opportunity, I should say. So, first of all, the American Academy of Pediatrics, as you can see, is polluted by this leftist ideology, which makes all of us moms, should make all of us moms say, whoa, wait a second, how are you trying to apply this to our kids? So they have an ideology problem, and it's not just based on this equity, diversity, and inclusion part of their homepage. When I mentioned the question about guns that pediatricians ask when new parents come in with their little babies, this is intentional. They do this on purpose. They do this because the first week that you bring your child home, I mean, we've all experienced this. The protective instinct is just like 20 out of 10 here. You want to do everything you can to keep your baby safe. And you're essentially told by your pediatrician that your child is going to die by gun violence, which is certainly not true when they're little. It's certainly it's a fear-mongering technique. It's that emotional manipulation that I was talking about. And the American Academy of Pediatrics actually admits that they have a gun control agenda. They admit that the American Academy of Pediatrics, these are supposed to be the doctors that are, weighing your child and making sure that they're on the proper growth track, or prescribing antibiotics, or whatever they do. These people have an agenda. They stand for an assault weapons ban. This is a political agenda embraced by the American Academy of Pediatrics. And so one of the ways that they push this agenda, their anti-Second Amendment gun-grabbing agenda, is by trying to strike fear in the heart of parents, trying to tell parents from the get-go that it's unsafe for parents to have firearms in the home. So again, equity, diversity, and inclusion, their gun ideology. In 2018, the American Academy of Pediatrics, believe it or not, came out with a policy statement in favor of what they call gender-affirming care. This is transgender transitions for children. And they came out in favor of this. This is what they say. They say transgender identities and diverse gender expressions do not constitute a mental disorder. They say variations in gender identity and expression are normal aspects of human diversity, and binary definitions of gender do not always reflect emerging gender identities. Now, it would be interesting because they claim that they make policy based on an evidence-based model. What is their evidence-based study that backs up this policy statement? They of course don't make any statements like that. They just talk about changing norms, and they just declare unilaterally that gender dysphoria is not a mental disorder, that gender dysphoria is just a normal expression of gender and identity. When we know, this is anti-science, this is anti-biology. These doctors who are literally doctors of medical science, they're rejecting science in favor of ideology. This is the governing organization of pediatricians all across our country, embracing gun control, embracing critical race theory, embracing transgender transitions for children, and only endorsing gender affirmative care, not endorsing any psychiatric or psychological help for these children suffering from gender dysphoria that would get to the root of the problem to try to actually heal it, versus just mutilating their bodies with transitions and hormones and eventually surgery. So there's a really big ideological problem with the American Academy of Pediatrics, who has so much control over every recommendation that our pediatricians make about our children.